Welcome to this week's skill quest. We're going to be looking at skill quest number 8 of everyone doing their round last week. And then we're going to be looking at this week's number 9 skill quest. And we have a special guest who is actually going to be hosting this week's skill quest. It's not me, it's your one and only. You'll come to find out. um, Welcome to Parkour 360 Skill Quest. Every single week, we dive into on Monday morning to look at the previous skill quest of everybody doing their trick skills and really cool weekly challenges, and then also post about the upcoming skill quest in which you can also get involved with. So let's dive straight into it and review last week's skill quest number 8, which we were looking at flow. So here on our Parkour 360 Academy, going on to Skill Quest, we have one, two, three, four, five of you doing the flow combo from last week. So to go over it again, last week for Skill Quest number 8, we were going through flow combos. You had to do 5 skills in a flow line. We have 3 different levels. The first one must include any type of roll. The second one, we're playing a game of build up. So for level 2, you had to do a roll and then add a cartwheel. And then for level 3, you had to do a roll, a cartwheel, and a flip. The biggest note for that week's skill quest was that it did not have to be in any order. And so all we're looking for is just a really cool combo of you putting your skills together. And now we're going to take a look at it and give you any tips and tricks in order to get, well, better at your parkour flow skills. So here we go. We're going to start off with the very first person, Marlo at Roselle. Perfect. The combo at Roselle Park was corkscrew, hip roll, step vault into another step vault, 360 step, Barani, one-handed cartwheel into a helicopter row. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Damn, he's stacking. He's stacking this combo. The capitals are required moves for the skill quest. I'm assuming you only need to attach one video for level 3 because it has the same requirements for level 1 and 2. This one was interesting. Um, I was hoping, and which is totally fine, we're going to see if other people do this, and that is I wanted to see if you can post all 3 skill quests. And so for this one, even though level 3 had level 1 and 2 as part of it, it would have been cool to see you do level 1 by itself, level 2 and level 3 all by itself, and come up with, well, essentially 3 different variations for 3 of the different levels. It just means that there's more creativity and fun. But at least for this one, he submitted a level 3 skill. So let's take a look. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we started off with the corkscrew, bang, into the hip roll, and that's your double step vault, into the flip, and then a one-handed helicopter row. Very cool. The flow, um, doing the corkscrew into the hip roll is what I did for my skill as well as a demonstration. This is a really good point of learning the hip roll. We teach that in level 1. The reason for that is because if you land really low, as you can see, he goes into animal landing, and it's very hard to flow out of this type of landing because, well, you're head first into the floor. And so the best scenario for you to get out of this type of movement is straight into a hip roll by dropping that hip and rolling out. And he goes into the double step vault. And so anytime that I recommend, if you're going to do any movement that requires falling pretty much head first into animal landing, your best bet is to try and do a hip roll out. Bang, because then the hip roll allows you to go into a forward momentum to keep the skill going. So Marlo did a really good job here. All I could say is that as part of the hip roll, he fell onto his bum, and you can see he bounced a little bit. What I recommend here is that you can probably see his other leg sticking out there. If you take a closer look, that leg never really touched the floor. What I recommend is using that leg and then sort of jumping off it, or putting all your weight onto that leg to try and get out of the skill as quick as possible, which means that you're coming into the skill quick and exiting the skill quick, which makes it sort of look like it flows better rather than stopping, because he bumps a little bit, bang, pop. Yeah, really cool. The double step vault is super cool. I always love this. Very hard to find this type of stuff, but the double step vault, cool. Into a nice spin for the side flip. Cool. So, I feel like this could be a cool opportunity to have probably add a macaco, or maybe an Arabian, or some sort of trick in the middle here. As you are spinning, you could add some sort of spinning skill, including your hands, rather than just walking across. Because your tricks after this isn't as complicated. And so I feel like you have a lot of power left in your tank that you could do something in this spot. Bang, side flip, landing. Very cool. As you come through, as part of this week, Owen asked for tips on his side flips to see how he got his side flips better. And one of the biggest tips, Jaden brought this up, and it was using your back arm. And I feel like Marlo here is auto sort of in the same category. You can see his back arm is slightly being used, but then it stops there horizontally. You can actually swing your back arm much further, and I can tell if somebody's using their back arm if that back arm was not horizontal but vertical, because then it means you're throwing your back arm as high as you can to get more pop. Why do we do this? Well, because as you can see, he lands looking for the floor and his hands, and then landing in animal landing. If you pop your back arm, you will be floating in the air much higher. Also, the second thing, you can see he's looking over his shoulder. We always want to avoid looking over our shoulder when doing a side flip, because this is no longer a side flip, it's a barrel roll. And so, yeah, the best advice, throw your shoulder, and then also never look over your shoulder. Sorry, throw your arm and never look over your shoulder. Landing into helicoptero. It's a decent helicoptero. So what is a helicoptero? It's an interesting term. It's an interesting name. I personally think eh, it's a cool skill, not really necessary in parkour, more of a tricking skill, and that is you're doing a cartwheel and you're landing on your opposite leg. Yeah, Marlo, it's a very hard angle. We'll have to. I'll show you guys in the future a helicoptero. Usually done with two hands on the block. He's done with one hand. But a skill for an ending skill, I wouldn't have ended with that skill. He chucked it in there because he needed to do some sort of cartwheel skill, which I believed would have worked here into a cartwheel. And then he could have done a cartwheel into a side flip out, which would have been really cool, and then ended down there, and then sort of continued down the line. Here, he landed and having to go back up and finish helicoptero. If this was a competition, you'd lose marks on that. It was a very awkward movement and not a really cool last skill to end on. Just my opinion, but really good. Overall, really cool skills. Well done. Owen. Oh, sweet. I think Owen did do all three. Level one, 360 reverse vault. There's your roll. Double safety, lazy vault. Wait, double safety vault into a lazy vault and front handspring. Ooh, cool. Let's take a look at that one. Here's your 360. Amazing. Now, yep, that's cool. I like that. This is a perfect example of doing level one, two, and three. So here we go. Starts off with a 360. That'd be really cool. If you could do it instead of doing a standing 360, I always like to start a run with movement. So you could almost do it as a running 360, just so that your flow from the very start doesn't look static. Coming out of it nicely, he keeps flowing. I love that turn. Bang. Very good. A really cool thing about his flow is it looks like he keeps moving. He doesn't stop at any time. If he does stop, which he did right here, at least he stopped his forward momentum, but he still spun around in a circle, which means that us as humans with our eyes looking at it is like, oh, he's still moving, he's still flowing. So to be in flow is to be in constant movement. Bang, reverse, roll. Nice. Perfect. All I would say here is there was a little bit of a pause. If you did that a few more times, you would have perfected that. If you wanted to add, maybe he did add front handspring into some sort of tumbling line afterwards. Other than that, that was a beautiful level one. Level two, Kong vault, corner front handspring. Interesting. Cartwheel helicoptero. Ooh, we get to see his version. Step vault, backwards step vault. Oh, interesting. And then front swing roll. Ooh, and then reverse down. Ooh, interesting. We're adding some more complicated skills here. Oh, there we go. Running start in. Oh, there. That's where it is. Yep. Ah, cool. Hey, oh, hey. Oh, interesting. Okay. So instead of going downwards all the stairs, he was going along the stairs. Very creative. Not a lot of people would have done that. A lot of people would have just gone down the stairs. So let's break it down. Started off with a Kong into that's your corner front handspring. Super cool, super niche. I like it. Into the helicoptero. Okay, so let me explain how he does it. This is correct. You go in as a cartwheel where you place both hands down and then take a look at this. He is jumping off his left leg. And usually, as a cartwheel, you would land on your opposite leg, which is your right foot. But a helicoptero, you land on the leg you jumped off with. So check out his left leg. It comes up, and you spin your right leg over to try land back on your left leg. If you don't get enough spin, the movement will look a bit janky, but he's managed to make it look, yeah, nice. By him flowing out of it straight into the vault, it allowed him to keep his chest forward in order to go into the next skill. Really nice. And coming up to come down. This one was interesting. What is this? Did he kick the wall? He did kick the wall. What did he break it down into? Backward step vault into front swing roll. Man, I don't know what you're talking about there. Is coming up, bang to come step back down. and then a nice reverse fold to kick out. Honestly, super cool. I would have probably finished off with the side cat and then kept running out. Other than that, very nice. Love it, love it. That was a unique one. All right, let's finish off with this last one. That one he did include the cartwheel, which is the helicoptero, and also the roll. And now we've got the cartwheel, roll, and flip. So he's got a side flip pre to start off with, a roll, a cartwheel into a twist, and then another flip gainer at the end. Interesting. 25 seconds, big clip. Boom. Oh, yeah. Okay, nice. Marlo with the clip over there. Ah, that's the one I was looking for. Hey, boom, bang, bang, boom. Power moves. Everything is a power move. I know exactly what you think that I'm going to say, and that is just the very first move. You did stop, so you would lose points on that. And what I mean by that is here, he does a side flip and then stops. So I think he was trying to go for a, and let's see, does he use his back arm? No, he doesn't. Use your back arm more. Because if you used your back arm, you would have landed a much higher chest version, which means that I assume you are trying to land. You want to land like this when you're doing your side flips. You see, your chest is already up really nice and tall, and you're leaning out forward. The only way that you can do that is to really throw your back arm to get as high as you can so you can land up really nice and high. And the goal is to be able to do the side flip, land like this, so you can go straight into your side cat. So then that is the flow in which you're looking for. Side flip straight into side cat. Perfect. Bang into the roll, off the ledge with a bit of a dash at the end. I like how he put his hands down. It adds a little bit of push power in order for him to do his cart twist. Bang, cart twist. Nice. So the card twist was a little bit of a stumble. If he added an extra 90 degrees, he would have landed in this position rather than chest position. So he's landing chest towards the wall. If he added just another 90 degrees, you would have already landed like this instead, which means that you can go straight into bang. Perfect. And it looks like he tried to side flip out. Yeah, I can. Well, that arm position there looks like a side flip. Let's see. Did he do side flip here? No, you came out of frame. Okay, cool. I think in this position, and then you doing a rollout is perfect. A lot of the time, people try and stomp the last skill. You can stomp the last skill if you like, but I am looking for flow. So if you stomp the last skill, but you still don't run out, or you just don't keep moving, then it's a very janky ending. So here, Owen did a perfect job. He under rotated. So he came in. He tried to almost do a layout tuck, not too sure. But then he under rotated. He can spot the floor and he's like, oh man, I'm going to hit the floor pretty hard. But instead of just landing it and then just taking it in animal landing, he decided to roll out, which means that the skill itself moved smoothly. And I, as the viewer, would have been like, wow, that looks really great. He looked like he did that on purpose. And so, because of that, it was so smooth. So, Owen, good job. All three levels, I actually really like it. Um, I think my favorite one is probably still number one on how smooth it was. Bang, that's cool. I love that move into the front handspring. Very smooth, very, very smooth. And this section here, yeah, from here, side cat to forward roll into a twist. Yeah, I like that section. If you had the side pre into the side cat and you made that perfect, that this whole entire section with a couple of cleanups would have been a perfect 10 out of 10. I would have rated it really high. Really cool. High level skills. It connected really well. And you had some really unique movements in there in different axes and different angles. And so, perfect. Smashed it. Yes, this skill quest was made for you. Owen, you're good at flowing, mate. I love it. Okay, let's move on to Jaden. Okay, he's done two different variations. Let's see what he's got. Cartwheel, straddle, vault, side flip, hip roll, dive roll. Originally wanted to end with a sideways back flip, but couldn't land it. Couldn't land it to the standard I would have wanted. Yep. I also only did the one line, but I spent a while on trying to get it the way I wanted to, but couldn't quite get as smooth as I would like to. Still pretty happy with it though. For this line, I found trying to push off my hands quicker in the cartwheel helped me be ready for the straddle vault. I also found that trying to travel more and push the hips out for the hip roll helped. Those are some really good tips there. And it seems like everyone liked the tips as well. So let's get into it. Cart, straddle, side to hip roll to dive roll. Very smooth. That was actually a very clean line. Like, yeah, it's a very good use. Bang. Yeah, nice. So let's, before I break that down, let's take a look at this one, the next one he posted. Yep. Same line. This one, he stomps a backflip. The other one, so let's take a look at that. Just break that last bit down. Nice. And this one, nice. Both equally as impressive as each other. The backflip adds the difficulty, but his dive roll was smoother. I personally, as a flow, he flowed out of it really nicely. Personally, what I would do is exactly this one with the backflip. And again, my pet peeve on flow is that he just ended it with a backflip and it's a harsh ending. So what I would do is that I would add the dive roll at the very end. So when he does the backflip, he would land. And then now that he's leaning forward, chest heavy, you would add the dive roll and just dive out of frame. This would allow you to look like you are flowing and you are front heavy. So the same as Owen, how he landed his gainer and rolled out. He would have stomped his backflip, but then dived out to do the roll, and the flow would have not ended. It would have just kept on going. So merge the two clips together at the very end, and you've got yourself a 10 out of 10 skill quest for flow. Cart, straddle, comes in. Sit spin is perfect for a lot of exits for any skill. So here you go. Bang. He comes down and then he drops his knee, comes with his back leg, puts his other hand down, and then steps up. Very, very, very cool. I actually really like that. Jaden, bang over skill quest. I know he's trying to keep on pushing after his little toe injury. So seeing him putting the lines back together and it getting more and more complicated over time, really, really cool. I would love for you to try and combine the backflip into a dive rollout. That would be really cool. All right, we're moving into, I think this is Isla or Isla. Sorry if I butcher your name. I will come to learn your names. um, Isla, Isla. Is it with an S? All right, I'm gonna stop saying that. Okay, so this is her very first skill quest. Welcome to Parkour 360 and welcome to Skill Quest, weekly skill quest. I hope you enjoyed this one. Every week we do a new skill, and then we do a review just like this, taking a look at everyone's skill quest and giving tips and tricks. So let's take a look at what you've done this week. So drop pre, shoulder roll, sliding monkey. You probably have a different name for this. That's true. She's from I wonder where you're from, because everyone around the world has different names calling different things. A cartwheel is a cartwheel because that comes from gymnastics, but a lot of parkour names are a little bit different. And then a one-handed macaco. Oh, cool. So what level did she do? She did a roll, a cartwheel. This would be level 2 because I don't see a flip. I'm still traveling at the moment. So used my friend's backyard for this one. Sometimes when I work with flow, I come up with lines with my ability, but find them really difficult to execute. Any advice on how you overcome difficulties with flow would be great to hear. Perfect. That's what we're here for. Let's break it down and look into it. Boom. Yes. That was awesome. That was really, really cool. For your back, for a backyard as well. That was awesome. Yeah, I was starstruck. Bang, you rolled on that perfectly, came out of that. Nice. Super cool. Okay, started off with the standing pre. You stepped into it. Perfect landing on your toes. Look at that. Coming in for the roll. Stayed on the log with the perfect shoulder roll and then flowed out of it. I love that. So instead of coming forward, she managed to go backwards, but still flowed by going backwards into the roll. So cool. Bang, turning around. We would call that a lazy vault. What did you say? A sliding monkey. Uh, to me, to us, we call it a lazy vault. Also, probably a thief fault. So, yeah, because you came round and now you're in this position where you have one hand on the obstacle, one foot on the floor. You swing your leg over and you place your backhand behind you. That is a lazy vault. Perfect. Honestly, that was a 10 out of 10 flow skill. Um, I personally would probably start at the rock behind you and then may as well stepped in and then did the jump rather than doing it as a static start. The same as Owen's 360. I would have had him run in and then do a 360. I always prefer some sort of moving to get started. What tips were you asking for? Sometimes when I work with the flow, I can come up with lines within my ability, but find them really difficult to execute. Well, honestly, you executed that line really well. I would actually like to know how many times it took you to execute that skill. Was it multiple times? Was it one time? Was it a first time go? Like, that would be really cool. Any advice on how you can overcome difficulties with flow would be great to hear. Firstly, everything that you did execution wise was really smooth. I think now the best thing to do is to understand your perspective on what it took you to do this type of line. When you came out and took a look at it, did you say to yourself, that's exactly what I'm going to do? I knew exactly what I wanted to do from the very beginning. Or did you stand there for up to an hour just being like, what should I do? This is confusing. Should I do this? Should I do that? Like questioning everything that you do. That is more of the behind the scenes. Your execution on video looked perfect, but I would like to know more of your mindset on what it took you to actually make this happen. That is where we can help you the most because the execution wise, really cool. Yep, rolling on there, coming out into your cart. and Makako, you connecting skills together was really, really nice. Everything you did, you have really good fundamental parkour skills. By your landing technique, your rolling technique, your steps, your Makako is really nice, and then you've ended it like that. It was perfect. And so yeah, I would love to ask you on what skill was difficult for you, which one did you have the most problem with, and then how did you connect it all together, and did that take you forever? Because sometimes somebody can go up to a line and being like, oh, I can do this line and can execute it either straight away or within 10 minutes and put a line together, or sometimes a line that may look as simple as this can take a person up to an hour, or they never end up doing a flow line because, well, their brain overloads and they just can't seem to put the pieces together and then they just give up. So I would love to, yeah, break this down with you a little bit more and we can discuss that afterwards. Other than this, for level two, honestly, 10 out of 10. That was really, really nice. If you wanted to make it a little bit harder, well, obviously by adding a flip would make it into level three. But to make it a harder level two, I would probably add maybe some sort of like off axis movement. Oh, which you did, cartwheel into Makako. And you did really good for for the spot that you did it in. I would love to see more flow lines, but in bigger spots. That's probably it. More complications. Oh, that was perfect. I like that. Yeah, for your first skill quest, absolutely nailed it. All right, moving on to the last one, we've got Benji, the burnt Benji. He told me he got absolutely cooked by the sun. Yeah, hella burnt. Not as flowy as I like because I got hella burnt yesterday. And moving is not the best. Of course, it hurts to move while you're burnt. Um, level one has the roll going up and down the slide. Oh, oh, oh. Cool. And you've incorporated a rope. That is super cool. Rolling up, rolling down. Again, just me. You started standing. I would probably run into a roll just so that you're not doing a static start. Rolling backwards, jumping up, spinning around, and Kong, and then 360 spin afterwards. Love it. Something as simple as just jumping and then doing a 360, it might feel silly, but on camera watching it, it's better than just jumping straight. You can do a 360 spin, go to the tree, tap the tree, and run out of frame. That would have looked that like, yeah. There you sort of stomped the landing. If you landed and they just kept running out, that would have looked really cool. I love that. Into the Kong up 360. Beautiful. The only thing I would say about that is if you did a running start into the roll, that would have been perfect. Everything else for level one, very smooth. Level two has an Arabian and a cartwheel, and you're trying to get the hands moving along the wall. Interesting. Let's take a look. Oh, interesting. Interesting. He goes backwards and forwards. Well, he goes forwards and backwards. Starts with a gate vault. Very unique. A lot of people would have done that. A lot of people would have just started on the grass down here and went in. He chose to start off with the fence behind there. So props to you for looking beyond on just your little spot and saw that there was an opportunity to do a vault. And so you started with a gate vault. Here, I would have started off the frame behind one of those buildings, ran in, and then did the gate vault, just so that you're not starting static. Cool. With the rollout, that's totally fine. Did some runs, bounced off the tree into the cartwheel, and then jumping in. This is not an Arabian. Arabian. Oh, wait, I think he did it. I think this was the Arabian. Bang. Yeah, it's a small Arabian. Bang, boom. That thing was what you're trying. You were walking on the floor with your hands. You did that, and you did a couple of steps with your hands as part of the cartwheel. Interesting. And then rolled out. Very cool. I can see that you're a bit sunburned, so rolling and moving at that magnitude with your sunburn would have been funny as. That was cool. I really like that. So I like the concept that he used the rails behind there to do the gate vault. Level 3 had a swing gainer, hip roll, well, we'll take a look, and a cartwheel down the thingy. I'm so keen to see what the thingy is. Oh, wait, he's got multiple videos. You gotta just post 3 levels, mate. I'm hoping if it's been uploaded in order, the first 3 are final lines, and then the rest are a few many attempts. Okay, perfect. So these are the other attempts here. Beauty. Let's go take a look at this one. This one will be level 3. Swing gainer. Yep, hip roll. Yeah, nice. He managed to flow everything on that little ramp. Awesome. That's a completely different thing in itself. Um, uh, Isla, Isla. Yep. This is. You want to take a bit of inspo from this one. As you can see, Benji was utilizing only just this platform, and he's managed to go back and forward on the platform multiple different times. It could be something similar with your log that you are on, and you could have gone back and forth over the log maybe 2 to 3 more times to add a bit of more complexity and flow on the same item, and then finish it with your cart into Makako. So, swing gainer, stumbled a little bit into hip roll. The best way to have done this is to do the gainer or swing gainer and then did a half twist because you're landing in this position, but you hip roll and you have to spin into your hip roll. And so if you landed already 90 degrees and your body was facing the other way, you would have been able to go straight into the hip roll straight away. So that would have been a really cool skill that you can try is to do your swing gainer and then right at the last second, just twist out 90 degrees so you don't stumble. Yep. Oh, really nice. Getting back on, he came through and he swung. So you would have done this as a swing gainer, but he just swung back onto it and then cartwheel out into a side flip. Very cool to be able to pop out of a cartwheel into a side flip like that. Boom, boom. Nice. So, Benji, Marlo, if you're watching, check out his back arm. He comes down and he's really low, but check out his arm now. He starts swinging that arm and look at that back arm drive. It's basically vertical now. So, with that arm being able to throw from such a low position, he's using that back arm to generate all that momentum in order to flip. And as you can see, his arm begins to swing and then it stops and his body comes to his hands. That's the power of using your back arm. He wasn't in the ideal upright position with maximum power and jump. He was really low in an awkward position, but he just swings his back arm really hard and he managed to actually complete the side flip. Beautiful. Benji, I love that. Let's go see some of these extra clips. Oh, yeah. That's the roll. Oh, 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 cool. Use that wall. So you started on the slide and just rolled backwards to start off with. That's interesting. No one's incorporated a wall element like that. Actually, I really like that. If you did the first one, the first clip you did, but then you incorporated that wall thing, That would have been really cool. I like that. Super rate. Let's see this level 3 in multiple different attempts. Nice. I think he didn't like that as much. I'm not too sure why. That almost is a bit flowier than the first one because the first one you stumbled on your swing gainer. That one there was no visual stumbles. Whoa, that was like a tunnel flip. That was cool. And then the laugh. Very cool. That last one was a tunnel flip. Bang, because you're falling forward and then coming in. That was cool. You didn't realize that you were doing a tunnel flip, but it ended up being really cool. Mm. And you put your hands down, that's totally fine. Putting your hands down is so much better than jarring up. And what I mean by jarring is that, as you can see in this skill here, you see he fell backwards a little bit. You can that is a that is a noticeable stumble. By leaning forward, by putting your hands down, by rolling, by doing anything else, you are stumbling into a flow, so it doesn't look like a stumble. Here, you can clearly see that he stumbles. He falls backwards and he's trying to regain balance. That will lose your marks in flow. Yeah, very cool. This one, I love what you did with the slide and especially with the wall. And there you go. That's everybody. One, two, three, four, five. There's five of you for Skill Quest for number 8. Congratulations. Thank you so much for posting. You guys did really, really cool. I love seeing people's flow skills because with parkour, it's not just about being able to do one skill at a time. It's about being able to put multiple skills together and you see your world in a very different way. I personally like to say you start seeing your world as a playground. So you go out and you play differently. Now let's move on to skill quest number 9. And I will introduce to you, I didn't do skill quest number 9 this week because I was busy with doing a bunch of events and making sure that you guys were having some really cool things that are coming your way. So we had, drum roll, we had Jaden. Jaden did skill quest number 9 this week. So let me introduce you to him and his skill quest. So for the Sydney Parkour Jam, the Jaden Jams that happens every Saturday or every weekend, they were at Apes due to the rain and we got rained out. And Jaden did skill quest number 9 this week and he did it with walls. So let's take a look at it. And this is your skill quest for this week.
Welcome back to Skill Quest number 9. My name is Jaden and I'm taking over for this week. We're doing wall skills. For level number 1, you're going to be doing a wall run. So depending on your skill level, if you're a beginner, aim for a chest high wall. If you're an intermediate, aim for a head high wall. And if you're an advanced, aim for above your head high. Level number 2, we are doing climb up. So similar to a wall run, except you have to start in this cat hang position. Again, depending on your skill level will depend on the level of climb up you can do, but just try and get from that cat hang up to the top position as best as you can. Level number 3, we're combining our wall skills and our flip skills. So you're going to interact with the wall with your hands, feet, or any part of your body and perform a flip. I'm going to leave the rest up to you. Good luck. Don't forget to click I accept, and the previous skill quest reviews will be up in this post.
And that review is this one right now. Yeah. And that is Skill Quest number 8 review with Skill Quest number 9 by Jaden himself. I love what he's done and him bringing onto this. I didn't tell him what to do. He chose, I told him that he had to do the walls as the wall category, but he chose on how he wanted to do it. And I would love to give an invite some of you guys in the future to also produce Skill Quest because I would love to see your versions. Everybody does parkour differently, and I love to see that. That's why Parkour 360 exists because everybody has their own unique flavor and taste to parkour. And so, one of you other lucky guys will now be doing Skill Quest in the future. I will hit you up or message me if you would like to get involved. Other than that, enjoy skill quest number 9. I want to see your wall tricks because I didn't film the tutorial. I will be going out myself and be doing skill quest number 9 this week. Now that's going to be super cool. Guys, enjoy. Post up. I want to see all of your clips for Skill Quest number 9. If you are new to this, welcome. You can join Parkour 360 and do our weekly skill challenges. We also run a bunch of different classes on there where you get to learn parkour. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentorship, there are opportunities to upgrade and talk to us in person. Enjoy, train hard, go out there and play differently. I'll see you guys next week.